I'm here in the great state of New Hampshire. More specifically, I'm here in the middle of the White Mountains. It's packed here in the fall. You hear all sorts of different languages and accents. It's a really cool place. But what really gets me about New Hampshire is the state motto: live free or die. It's pretty cool.
Live free or die. It's probably the most well-known of the state mottos. And what better backdrop than the White Mountains to indulge in that spirited mantra? This national forest, yes, the White Mountains are a national forest, is a physical manifestation of that extreme and ambitious jurisprudence. The White Mountains offer a daunting and dangerous sublimity. They have been scraped ragged by glaciers, exposing steep cuts of rock, giving New Hampshire the nickname the Granite State. Moreover, these mountains are home to some of the fastest winds ever recorded. More on that later. And it's not just the landscape. I found that the people here were inspired with the same vim ingrained in their motto. It was here I saw the most violent car crash of my entire life. Turn signals are evidently some bureaucratic cock and bull. New Hampshire doesn't have state income tax nor sales tax. It's a state that is diligently dogmatic, but I do find that incredibly endearing. The White Mountains offer some of the most intense imagery you can see in the Appalachians. People come from all over the world to see what's going on here in upstate New Hampshire. And when they do, they'll often take a ride through the Kankamagus, or the Kank, a famous highway that cuts through these White Mountains. And it's pretty. Pretty is a word that describes the Kank pretty well. But pretty is a word that is too simple to accurately describe the appeal of New Hampshire. And to get at that, we gotta look at what New Hampshireites, yes, that's what you call them, we gotta look at what New Hampshireites do with their God-given gift of God's country. Because New Hampshireites, what's their deal? What do they do? You won't see too many of them up here, but you will see evidence of the Americana that they leave behind. Evidence of an ancient and aesthetically gifted species. I wanted to go back to this shot. I mean, look at the film photos, look at the font, look at the decision to go all lowercase, look at the lighting. I mean, what are they doing in New Hampshire? But it's beautiful. And this one, the dark wood, the yellow background, the blue-green illustrations, it looks like it comes straight out of an old textbook. And while that's certainly a nostalgic decision, it's a nostalgic decision no other state is making. And a lot of these artistic decisions that New Hampshireites make are beautiful. And they're bold. In fact, they're beautiful because they're bold. And let's see that motto again. It's all coming full circle. Why are New Hampshireites so cool? I mean, live free or die? What is there, some kind of mythical quality or entity inherent in the backcountry of this state that permeates a sense of vitality and inspires the spirit of man, New Hampshire, and even America? Yeah, it's in Franconia Notch State Park. The Old Man on the Mountain. This geological oddity is on the state license plate and is revered greatly in this great state. It's a side of a mountain that looks like someone's side profile. It's a cliff face that looks like a face. That's wild.
I came out here this morning to see the view of the Old Man of the Mountain that right now is covered by clouds and fog, but that's okay because in 2003 it collapsed. It's not even there anymore. But it's a big deal to New Hampshire. And so they made this whole plaza and a bunch of these little sites so you can see what it once was before it fell. Tragic.
I hope I don't come off as snarky. From what I've seen, it was a pretty damn impressive sight. But luckily, that's not the only example of how New Hampshire is a geologically blessed state. The Old Man on the Mountain is just one oddity in Franconia Notch State Park, and a short drive away lies the iconic and gorgeous Flume Gorge, or the Flume. The Flume Gorge is a gorge. It cuts through the earth up to 90 feet deep. A series of cascading waterfalls wear down the basalt rock and leave us with this sublime sight. A sight 93-year-old Aunt Jess Guernsey saw in 1808. And ever since, people have gone hog wild visiting this thing. I was one of them, thankful for that misty morning to serve as the perfect backdrop to peak New Hampshire backcountry. It's just so cool how rain makes colors pop, and the setting had a lot going for it already. A lot of those Americana examples I showed you were shot here. The Flume Gorge is admittedly very manicured and touristy, but it was a very strong highlight of my trip, and so I would recommend it to anyone that's in the area. People go hog wild visiting New Hampshire, and as a result, many businesses have learned how to accommodate the touchy tastes of tourists who can afford it. Because it's not just people who visit New Hampshire. The rich come here too. If you had the time and money, why wouldn't you? And consequently, the New Hampshire backcountry, similar to the Adirondacks, became a major vacation destination to those in the cities down south. One such destination is in Bretton Woods, this iconic Mount Washington resort, built to have a view of Mount Washington, which, fun fact, has the fastest recorded winds outside of tornadoes and tropical cyclones. But even stronger than the raw power of nature are the tenets of our modern economic system, which were born in this very resort way back in 1944.
I'm here today in Bretton Woods, New Hampshire, in front of Mount Washington Resort. Mount Washington's somewhere behind me in the clouds or the mist or whatever. But if you ever taken any economics classes or political classes, history classes, there was a very important agreement made here in 1944 that would go on to establish the World Bank, the International Monetary Fund, the dominance of the US dollar, and the dominance of gold.
At Bretton Woods, New Hampshire, delegates from 44 allied and associate countries arrived for the opening of the United Nations Monetary and Financial Conference. Invited by President Roosevelt to the first major world financial meeting since the London Conference of 1933, they will work in the seclusion of this White Mountains resort. Delegates to this monetary and financial conference pose on the hotel lawn. These meetings are designed to promote trade in the post-war world and to create a foundation for lasting peace.
So yes, the Bretton Woods Agreement is a big deal. It established these world institutions, but more importantly, fixed exchange rates to the US dollar, which established a world with a strong dollar that was backed by gold, until it wasn't. But that's not the takeaway I want you to have here. Imagine, if you will, having to host an international conference to decide the future of the free world. Do you host it in New York City, Washington, D.C., maybe Chicago? No. You show these foreigners that even here, in the boonies of Yankee Doodle Land, we can do highbrow too. New Hampshireites are an interesting idea. Independent, creative, and intransigent. They would be a major boon to the Americana of our great nation, if they could be reliably produced. So do New Hampshireites really exist? Or is this promise too good to be true? To answer this question, I went on location to one of the cities where they might live, Portsmouth, New Hampshire, the state's gateway to the Atlantic. Portsmouth is named after Portsmouth, England, much like New Hampshire comes from Hampshire County, England. And New England came to be because England was trying to double the amount of England that there was in the world. And they would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for those brave patriots in the 18th century. New Englanders are very proud of their revolutionary heritage, and Portsmouth, New Hampshire is no different. John Paul Jones once lived here. That's pretty cool. And at the Portsmouth Naval Base, Japan and Russia signed the 1905 Treaty of Portsmouth, which ended the Russo-Japanese War. What is with this state in determining major international politics? Roosevelt got a Nobel Peace Prize for that, and it happened right across the river. What the? Okay. If it's not evident from that example, New Hampshire is a great state that punches well above its weight. And I feel very glad to have it and its people in our union. Thank you and goodbye.